Today's workshop is the complete real estate transaction system virtual real estate workshop with Jon Iannotti. Jon and Steffi have done over 3,000 real estate transactions with 36 years of experience. And they have done them in several states, and you're in for a treat today. And Jon's going to go ways for you to separate yourself from the competition, how to find more deals, you're going to be in for a real treat today. And we're going to get started here in a minute here. Jon's going to be joining us momentarily to get us kicked off with today's workshop. So I want to welcome everyone. My name is Jason Burke. I'm the president of the Real Estate Insiders Club. So I both run the Las Vegas Real Estate Insiders Club and the Boston financial crisis. It's been tested as COVID-19. And you're going to get a lot of great information today in this one-day workshop and training with Jon.
And we'll be good to go.
Okay.
Awesome. Okay. So let's get this party started, guys.
All right.
I don't know if
take it away.
Anybody was on the call the other night or not, but I just want to do a little intro of ourselves. And I bought my first property back in 1978, and we haven't stopped since. In fact, this morning I was at one of the properties we just purchased this past week, and meeting with the crews and getting things going there. So things are really ramping up. What we've done, guys, is we've created a system that will work in any market cycle, and we've been through a bunch of them over the years. The two big ones, though, were the banking crisis and the COVID. And what we've come up with is a system that will work in any market cycle. So it doesn't matter what's going on, if it's an up, down, sellers, buyers, it doesn't matter. We have the system that will work, and it adapts to any market cycle. So the big thing on this particular screen is the bottom line where it says, please check your previous real estate training at the door, because we're going to go into a bunch of stuff that is totally different than what most people out there who teach real estate investing do. And I believe that is what has kept us going over the years, is that we adapt and we keep doing what works, not stuff that worked 15 years ago. So let's move on. And the first thing I got to go through is a disclaimer that the attorneys always have you do stuff like this, but I just have it in there for you. It's before using these techniques, have it or them approved by the attorney or attorneys you will be using in your business. Make sure everything is approved by your legal representation so that what you are using and doing is legal and compliant. Our documents can be used as examples by the attorneys, or they can use them, change them, or use their own. This is a legal intense business, and make sure your legal team keeps you legal and compliant. Stay within the law, and you will succeed. You're going to see that I'm very big on legal and compliance. So a lot of people say just go out there and buy houses and make a mess of it and fix it later. I don't believe in that. I want you to be legal and compliant from day one. So why do you need the CATS system? Well, number one, it'll eliminate your competition. Guys, this can either be a total system for you, or it can be another tool in your tool belt. When you do a marketing campaign, you probably throw 98% of your leads away because they're not motivated sellers. With the complete agreeable transaction system, you now can work 100% of your leads instead of 2%. So it's you're going to eliminate your competition because you're going to be going after properties that the other investors won't go after. It's created by myself and Stephanie, and we use it daily in our business. It's the only system that will adapt to the market. And with us, you get a lifetime membership and lifetime updates. Get email access to ask questions. Now, here's a if you get email access to ask questions to other instructors out there, chances are that's going to a call center out in Salt Lake City, and somebody's reading from a manual and giving you your answer. When you submit an email to us, that email goes directly to me, and I respond to your questions. That is huge. That is something that nobody else out there does, and we're big on that. Get a monthly conference call with me. I call it the What Would Jon Do call. It's an hour-long Zoom call, and members from all across the country get on there, and we discuss topics, market, what the market's doing, and if anything's changed or what we're doing in the process, that kind of stuff. Opportunity to profit share on your deals. What profit sharing is if you want, we will work with you on your deal, and then we'll just split whatever profits you make on the pricing. You guys are going to get a great price today. We're going to show you how to eliminate double closings, make more money in your pocket, all that good stuff. Our process. Our process is pretty simple. We're going to get an agreement to buy the seller's property for the price that they want for cash. Simple as that. Have or locate the funding to get the deals closed that is satisfactory to the sellers, the buyers, and us. Doesn't sound like a very complicated system, but we'll close the deal as soon as possible. Now, we've changed how we talk to sellers over the years, okay? And I call it seller-friendly terminology. Instead of saying a contract or a document, which sounds pretty legal, we use the word agreement. Instead of saying a buyer or tenant buyer, we use the word funder. What is a funder? Well, a funder to us is anyone who brings cash to the table for us to do the deal. Hard money, private money, IRA funds, a buyer with cash or a buyer with a loan, or it could be a tenant buyer. All those sources fund our deals. Keep this in mind. We're going in for a cash agreement to buy. We're going to submit it to our funders for approval. What's a funder? Anyone who brings cash to the table for us to do the deal. It could be hard money, private money, IRA funds, buyer with cash, buyer with a loan, tenant buyers. Any of those sources fund our deals. Now, I call it the dreaded I word, investor. I always say, are you an investor? And we say we buy several properties. Some we keep for our own portfolio and some we pass on to others. And then we shut up. Because if you keep on going, then you're going to screw it up because they're going to expect you to lowball them. And you're not going to lowball them. You're going to give them what they want. Remember? Market. We will submit our signed agreement to our funding sources for their approval. Once we hear back from them, we will let you know what funding offers they may make and schedule a closing as quickly as possible. So I'm not promising we're going to buy. I'm saying we want to buy for the price that they give us, as long as we get satisfactory funding. So basically, we're putting a financing contingency on the agreement, but we don't use just banks and credit unions. We use private money, hard money. We use investors, all different types of sources for funds, not just banks and credit unions. And if we can get satisfactory funding that makes us happy, the seller happy, and the buyer happy, we will close the deal. Now, the system we created, and Jason, if anybody has any questions along the way, please let me know, and I'll be happy to answer them as we're going through the day. two parts to the system. Number one is called ACT, and this is what I call the yes side of the business, your motivated seller, and ACT is agreeable contract terms. These can be not so pretty houses, or they can be pretty houses. Now, I say not so pretty because the little caveman guy sent me a letter and said I can't use the word that begins with U that represents not so pretty houses because they trademarked that word. So, okay, I trademarked not so pretty. So they can't use my term. These can be not so pretty houses or pretty houses. The deal is structured according to price or terms that the seller can do. So the seller is going to tell us, please take my house. You can have it subject to. I can do seller financing. I'll lease option it to. Whatever. Just please get me out of this house. They're motivated. Okay. Match the funder up with the agreements that we have. I call it the 2 A's. I have to keep it affordable to my funder. So he's got to be able to make the payment. And we do that by keeping the total PITI near market rent. If I can keep it near market rent, I know I have a deal. What's total PITI? That's principal, interest, taxes, insurance, HOA fee, any assessments, that kind of stuff that attaches to that monthly payment every month. Then we make it attractive to the seller. Now I have to make it attractive to the seller for them to say, yes, we can do this price or this term, these terms. So a lot of times on the pretty house, where they want retail, let's say they want 100,000. I'll say I can't do 100,000. How about 120? And of course they look at me like I got 3 heads, and it's like, well, I can do 120 if I get terms that are satisfactory for me. So it doesn't. I want you to keep this in mind. This is a big one here. I don't care what I pay for the house, purchase price. It's the monthly payment that I'm looking for. You see, I don't sell purchase price. I sell monthly payments. It's kind of like the used car salesman or the new car salesman out there that says, hey, I got this Mercedes for $130,000. No, he doesn't say that on TV. He says, you can drive this new Mercedes for $399 a month. He sells payments. Okay, so we do the same thing. Remember, keep it near market rents. We find a funder who can do the price or terms that we have, and we cash our check. Very simple process, and that is the motivated side of the business, ACT, or we call it the yes side of the business. Then we created REACT. Now, REACT is the no side of the business. That's the non-motivated person. That's the guy who wants cash, full retail price, or more than retail price for his house. Reverse engineered agreeable contract terms. That's REACT. Okay. Now, these can be not so pretty houses, or they can be pretty. Sound familiar? The only difference is they're not motivated. So we reverse engineer the deal according to the price or terms that the funder can do. So the funder tells us what he can do. Then we reverse engineer the deal with the seller and possibly the funder as well. Match the funder up with the agreements that we have. Again, we keep it affordable to the funder by keeping it near market rents, that total PITI. Make it attractive to the seller by maybe giving him that little extra on the purchase price if he's willing to take it in monthly payments. I've also done, where they'll do, let's say, a non-motivated seller will say, I can do some seller financing. I can do a lease option. When you're trying to get the agreement in the first place, they'll say that, and we stop them right there. We say, well, that's great, because we don't know if our funders need to do terms, but if they do, that's good to know. But what's your best cash price? And the reason I stop them is because inevitably, whenever they say, hey, I could do seller financing, hey, I could do a lease option, the next thing out of their mouth is they want 50% down and they want this huge monthly payment. So now they're dictating to us what the terms are, which are unreal. So we stop them in their place and say, no, we just need an agreement for cash. We get the agreement for cash. Now, if we have to come back with a terms deal, we can do that, but it will be terms that are advantageous to us. Number one, staying in the deal. And number two, if we have to get out of the deal, it's still going to be good for us. It's just that we're not going to be making a monthly payment or a monthly spread. So I want to structure the deal to the seller. I don't want the seller structuring the deal to us. We present the funder's deal to the seller, and we go cash our check. Doesn't that sound familiar? Same thing, simple process. This doesn't have to be a complicated business. We just make it simple. Okay, so 6 steps to becoming successful in real estate investing. And like I said before, the number one thing that we're big on is become legal and compliant. So we want you to become legal and compliant first, then locate funders. Now, other instructors out there will tell you, go find sellers and houses. We say, locate the funders first, because it's so much easier to go shopping when you know what you can shop with. If I send Steph to the store to go shopping for her new clothes, and I don't give her any money or credit card, she's not a happy camper. So I got to get the funding first, become legal and compliant, locate your funders, then locate your sellers. Now, this is the best way that we found it works. However, you may find your sellers first and then your funders. It's okay. Don't worry about it. You're going to get them both ways. But the best way is to get the funding first, then go shopping for the houses. But if you get your sellers first, the houses first, that's fine. Don't worry about it. Present your offers and get your agreements. Apply the CATS system. It's that simple. Then close quickly, of course. Now, your dream team. Everybody should have a dream team. Everybody teaches a dream team. What we do is we say, become legal and compliant first. So I want you to get your attorney, escrow, title, closing company all lined up first. I want you to have them approve your agreement that you're going to be using with every single seller. So they only have to approve it once, then you just fill in the blanks after that. But we call it the master agreement. The master agreement is the agreement to buy with your seller. Okay? Now that master agreement's only going to live till closing, because inevitably it's going to get changed. Either the buyer's name's going to get changed, or the purchase price, or maybe the terms, something like that. It's going to get changed. So this master agreement's only going to live till closing, and then the attorney, escrow, title, closing company, they will create whatever final purchase agreement they need to close the deal. Okay, so don't get hung up on that. We have several examples in our system that they can take a look at. They can use them, change them, whatever. The main thing is we have about 6 special disclosures and permissions that the seller gives us that we want built into whatever agreement you use. Okay. You need a real estate broker on your team, and we also like to use agents, and I'll get into why we do that here in a minute. Mortgage brokers with an S. We like to keep about 3 or 4 at least on our team, because each mortgage broker has probably over 100 mortgage programs that they can plug our people into. Okay. Do we use banks? Yes. Do we use credit union? Yes. But it's they only have so many programs, that a handful that they can plug people into, and if your people don't fit within their parameters, then they don't get the loan. Whereas a mortgage broker, they typically have a good 100 or so programs across the country that they can plug your people into, and it makes it a little easier to get people financed. Credit repair, tenant screening company. We have a company that we've used 20 years at least. And what we do is when we have somebody who's ready to go in to one of the properties, we send them to this company's website. They pay the $50 fee to run their credit and do the screening, and then they forward the report to us when they get it, so that we can look at it. And I can tell you, I looked at one recently. The report was, I think, 124 or 34 pages. I can't remember. It was huge, but it goes into everything, and it's a great way to screen people. Contractors, you're going to need some contractors. Best place to find them is your RIAs or your clubs, because there's typically guys in there that do their you should have a couple. You should have somebody who can do plumbing, electrical, drywall, roofing, all that good stuff. Because you're going to need it here and there. You're not going to do full rehabs. You may want to do something like we call it lipstick on a pig. Dress it up a little bit, and then put it back out there. But you're typically going to have to have somebody that you can use and count on. You need your on-the-ground guy. Now, your on-the-ground guy is someone who can basically be your courier to take your agreement out to the house to get the seller to sign it. Preferably that person is a notary, so that they can notarize the memorandum that we use, and they can maybe put up signs in the yard, take pictures, that kind of stuff. Just little things on the ground that a virtual assistant can't do. And what I've found over the years is your best on the ground person is someone who is retired, because they've had a work ethic. They worked all their lives. They show up. They will get things done. I tried using the young guys, the college guys. Forget it. Don't waste your time. Get someone who's retired, who's looking to get out of the house now and then, make a couple bucks, and they will get the job done for you. Okay. All right. Now, this is something that we've created that I don't believe anybody else has caught on to this yet, but we call it the steel dome. And I call it the steel dome because I work in a steel mill. So what you need is a real estate broker who is part of your entity who's doing the deals. Now, why would we want that? Well, number one, we bring him into the entity by giving him non-voting rights, one share of stock. And how does that protect you? The broker is a principal now in all your deals. So now I have a broker who's my partner on this. Okay? All marketing is done under the broker's license. See where I'm heading with this? We can now list our agreement for sale on the MLS. Guys, that's huge, huge. This opens up the MLS buyers to us. Okay? I mean, I'm moving a lot of properties through agents right now because they're finding our stuff on the MLS, which our broker puts out there. Okay. protection puzzle that nobody teaches, steel dome. Again, real estate broker in your entity, you use an attorney-approved master agreement. That's your agreement to buy. Sign as buyer in the name of a trust. Now, what we do is we typically will go whatever the property address is. 123 Main Street Land Trust. That would be the name of the trust. Then we also have the seller and us, our trustee, sign a memorandum that gets recorded. We mark it under the real estate broker's name and license. So all our marketing that will go out will have the broker's name and license number on there as well. That keeps the realtors off our back, and it keeps the state off our back because a broker's involved in the deals. And then we list our agreement on the MLS for sale. We get paid a release fee for releasing our recorded interest, that memorandum that gets recorded, not for selling real estate. So here's the thing, guys. We don't sell real estate. What we sell is our agreement to buy the real estate. And we get paid by having that memorandum released. So remember, the master agreement is approved by the attorney. All other agreements will be created by the attorney, escrow, title, closing company for closing. All right? So they can't crack the steel dome if we do everything. Food for thought. Think about this. If you have your funder, then you look for the for sale by owner. How can you be accused of marketing properties without a license? You never marketed a property. Okay. As a business owner, your responsibility is two things. I think there's some chatting here. Thank you. Welcome. You have two responsibilities as a business owner, guys. Number one is, I don't know where So again, as a business owner, your responsibility is two things. Find funders. This is the most important thing. If you can't find funders, you're not going to be able to move your agreements. So you got to find funders and then find sellers. Those are the two most important things that you are responsible for as a business owner. Okay? And both are accomplished with marketing. You know, one of the first things I see over and over again is investors or any business owner, restaurants, whatever, when the money starts getting tight, the first thing that they cut out is marketing. And that's like, you know, cutting your throat. I mean, you can't do it. You got to, the marketing, where the money's going to come from, you've got to keep marketing no matter what. And the beauty of it today is it doesn't have to cost a lot of money to market, to make a lot of money, guys. You know, back in the days, back around 2003 to 2006, I was spending probably $25,000 a month. Radio, TV, billboards. We had a race car lettered up. We had, you name it, we were doing it. And now, today, you know, I probably spend on average between $1,000 and $1,500 a month on marketing, and I still get the same kind of results. So you don't have to spend a lot of money, guys. You want to add funder buyers to your VIP buyers list. Once the funder buyer is pre-qualified, add them to your contact management system or your VIP buyers list. Determine what area of town they want to live in. Determine what type of property they need. Is it ranch, 2-story, how many bedrooms, baths, acreage, that kind of stuff. And then all this criteria will determine where you need to market for properties, where you need to look for properties, target market. That's the back one. Okay. Marketing and real estate investing. You should always be marketing, live, eat, sleep, drink, marketing. Can't say it enough. Your marketing should be for branding yourself or business. I don't know if you can see there's my shirts. It has, we've got houses on it and our contact information. I always wear these shirts. I have a closet full of them. It's just what you have to do. My jackets all have it on the back of them. The vehicles are lettered. So, you just want to make sure you're marketing for you. I hate it when I see somebody that has like Ford or Chevy or some college or football team or whatever on their shirts. Trust me, those places do not need you to market for them. They're doing fine. You have to figure out how to get them to market for you. That's the smart way to market. So looking for funding and private money, you should always be doing. Pre-qualifying these buyers and funder buyers and tenant buyers. And then target market for sellers. And we'll get into target marketing as well. So I always say, let everyone know what you do. Have your elevator speech. And guys, I have a great elevator speech in the system. It's basically, it's a letter I created. It's called How We Buy So Many Properties. It's one page. And if you get the gist of that letter, that's your elevator speech. And what I do is I'll leave that at the house with a seller as I'm leaving. That way they know exactly what we just discussed. Because inevitably, by the time you get out to your vehicle, the wife or the husband says to the other, well, he said this. No, he said that. No, here it is, black and white, what I just said. So there's no confusion. And that could be your elevator speech. It's awesome. Awesome. Don't market for other people or companies, like we said. Use all the standard forms of marketing, everything that's business cards, posters, flyers, all that good stuff. Use online marketing as much as possible, though. It's huge, online marketing. You have to have a web presence. If you don't have a web presence today, you don't have anything. 94% of real estate transactions start online. So if you're not online, they're not going to find you. It's going to be very hard to find you. Market. Can't say it enough, guys. Okay. Locating funders. Remember, a funder is anyone who brings money to the table to do our deal. Hard money, private money, buyer with money, buyer with a loan, and a buyer. All these sources fund our deals for us. And we determine what the funder will pay, what terms they will do to get into a property. So we're pre-screening them, right? Once I have them interested in a property, then that's when we send them to the website to fill out the credit check, tenant screen, all that stuff. And it does credit check, background check, Megan's Law check, which is sexual predator, employment check, landlord check, and there's debt to income check. There's so many So build your funder buyer list first is what we say. And again, like I said before, you may get a house first. That's okay. But there's a good chance, you're going to do a lot better if you get your funder first. Never stop marketing for funder buyers. Never stop. Pre-qualify them. And how do we do that? Do they have cash? And how much? Can they get a loan? And for how much? How much down and how much a month can they afford? All the rest of them are renters. Okay, now I'll tell you, I've lost track. I probably have 30 some websites and squeeze pages out there. And one day I brought in, I think it was 24 buyers. And by the time we sifted and sorted through them, what they can and can't do, we ended up with 4 who fit our criteria if they can do something. The rest of them were just renters. Now here's the thing, if you have rentals, that's great. Now you've got applications for renters. If you don't have rentals, maybe you know some landlords out there that might be interested in buying some leads. And if you sell that lead for anything over $1, you're making money. Now, if your market dictates $1,500 a month rent, and you can provide leads to your landlords that can pay $1,500 a month rent, I think they'd be willing to pay a decent penny for that lead, at least a couple $100. I mean, I know I'd pay a couple $100 for somebody like that. So it's a way to recoup some of your marketing dollars. Okay. So you work with your funder first. Once you know what your funder wants and what they can afford, it is then time to locate possible properties for them. Properties could be in your inventory already, or you may have to target market for them. A funder buyer in the hand is worth 2 in the bush, basically. Okay? So if I have a funder buyer who's a good one, he wants to live on the east side of town, he wants a 3.2, so many dollars per month payment and purchase price in this range. And I don't have that in my inventory. Now I'm going to look at all the for sale by owner sites out there for a property in that area that would fit that, number one. Number two, you can do a target marketing campaign with Every Door Direct. Every Door Direct is a program with the Postal Service. Just go to the Postal Service website, usps.com, and look at Every Door Direct. It's really easy. They have a map there. You move your mouse or your cursor over the east side of town, if that's where it is, and it'll tell you exactly how many mailboxes are in that area. This carrier has 25, this one has 50, this one has 100. Now you know you've got 175 people that you want to target. You just upload your mailing piece you want to send them. They will print it. They will deliver it. And then all you do is pay for it online. Very inexpensive, very targeted, great way to go after properties in that area. Now, I will tell you, my marketing pieces that I use, on one side, I'm buying houses. On the other side, I'm selling houses. Because I don't know who that person is that's going to get that piece of mail. It may be a funder. It may be a seller. I don't know. So we always try to hit both of them with the mailing pieces. Okay? This business is so much easier if you find your funder buyer first. And you may not. You may find houses first. That's okay. But when you find your funders first, it's so much easier. And again, think about it. If you have the funding, it's easy to go shopping for houses. We've all been taught to get the house first and look for your exit strategy. We say no, get your exit strategy first, then go get the house. It's so much easier. I don't know why anybody else never thought of that, but it's so much easier. All right, so it's time to go shopping. Again, it's so much easier to give the seller what they want and renegotiate once you know what the funder buyer can pay or terms they can do. It is easy to renegotiate with the seller. Here's an example. Let's say a funder buyer can pay $100,000 and the seller wants $100,000. And you get the agreement to buy for $100,000. Well, how do you make money? You tell the seller you have funding, just not all of it. Renegotiate with them. Then ask for a discount. National discount is about 5%. Well, that's $5,000 for you. Then go back to your funder buyers and renegotiate for more funding. If the funder buyer goes up 5%, there's another $5,000 for you. So that's a total of $10,000 with nothing out of pocket on a deal that every investor would walk away. They would walk away from it because it's a $100,000 buyer, $100,000 seller, and you have an agreement to buy for $100,000. Every investor out there is going to walk away from it, except you. Now, what if it was $1 million home, not $100,000? Yep, made $100,000 profit out of thin air on a deal that had no money in it. See where this is going? Here's one of my favorite bandit signs. And what couple things on here. The top line, no bank qualifying. Well, that's going to bring in people who can't qualify for a loan, right? They're going to have to do terms. You can change that message, okay? You don't have to have that no bank qualifying. It can be executive home. It can be lakefront home, whatever. Then the next one in red is the area of town where you're looking to get homes. So the east side of town, or wherever. Then the type of home you're looking for that's in that area. 4-bedroom, 3-bath, home with a pool, that kind of stuff. And of course, you change it to your needs. Then you put your phone number in there. Now you can put mine in if you want. That's fine. I'll take the calls. But if you put your phone number in there. Then the bottom line, well, that is a squeeze page, a landing page that people go to. They give me their contact information, and then it shoots them off to our website. So now I've got their contact information, and we can contact them to get more information on what they're looking for. This is a great bandit sign, guys. It works really good. Now, if you're having trouble with code enforcement, this is my secret bandit sign. Code enforcement leaves this alone. They do not even pay attention to it. Again, where's that phone number go? Well, it goes to my virtual assistants, same number. Code enforcement leaves it alone. Why would they leave it alone? Because they believe it's an agent who's got the sign. Okay? And we have a broker on our team, so we pretty much are legit that way. I tested this one time on an on-ramp on a very busy road in Florida, and the sign stayed there for 4 weeks. The only reason it came down was because they cut the grass. if I go put this sign up in that area, code enforcement's probably on my tailgate, ready to take it down as soon as I put it up. So that's our secret sign. And we've made it even a little different too. See the little QR code on there? Well, the QR code will take you to our landing page as well. So those are my 3 best signs that we use. Now, if you're still having trouble with code enforcement, here's a secret. You can go out online and buy magnetic signs. Typically, you can get them for $4 or $5 each. Same thing. Hand them out. Give them to people. Now, you may want to put on there maybe an extension. You know, if you have a phone system, put an extension on there, or maybe a code for that particular sign. So, like your plumber, you know, and he's got, you know, code 100, and they give it to your lawn guys. They can put it on their trailers and stuff. Code maybe 200, whatever. So you can track where the leads are coming from. And then when you do a deal, you give them a couple $100. They love it. They love it. I had a plumber call me. He says, John, it's the middle of January. I haven't done any work for you for several months. He said, I got a check for $250. I said, oh yeah, we did a deal off of the magnet on your trailer. He said, really? I said, yeah. He said, can you send me some more magnets? So he's got them all over all his vehicles. It's an easy way to make money for them, and it keeps code enforcement off our back. So just another way of doing it. Okay, locating sellers. Now, yeah, like I said, we used to spend a ton of money marketing for bringing in sellers. Today we don't, because it hit me one day. It was like, you know, for sale by owner, they actually have their hand up and they're saying, my house is for sale, call me. So I was like, dang, if I send out a mailing, I might get 1 or 2 out of 100 that actually have a house for sale. These guys are saying, my house is for sale. Give me a call. So since about 2005, our number one source for finding sellers is for sale by owner. Now we also look at for rent by owner, because a lot of people rent their house because they really can't sell it. Maybe they owe too much on it or something, whatever. Or maybe they wanted to be a landlord. They thought they did. You know, they watch HGTV and they want to become landlords, fix these houses up, that kind of stuff. And, you know, one of my first houses I did, I mean, it was a triplex and I actually still have it. It was advertising an apartment for rent. So I called him and he's telling me all about it. Oh, that really sounds nice. He said, oh yeah, and I did this to the building, that to the building, you know, and I'm like, oh yeah. Well, have you ever thought about selling the whole building? He said, well, for the right price. And I said, well, would you sell it with some seller financing? He said, for the right price. And I said, well, let's get together and talk. And we did, and we worked out a deal. So you just never know where you're going to find these things. You know, I had at one of my 4-day events, I had one of the members brought in a lead for me to call live, and I called it. It was in South Carolina, I think. And guy on the other end of the phone, he says, yeah, he says, yeah, the house is still for sale. And I said, oh, cool. I said, would you be willing to sell it, on terms? And he said, yeah, he said, I could do that. He said, and I got 46 more, or 47 more. He said, I could do that with. And I'm like, really? Everybody's mouth hit the floor in the room. I mean, it was crazy. So that member on that one phone call, he got 46 or 47, I can't remember, 48 properties with seller financing on one call. So you just never know what you're going to find when you're out there, talking to sellers. But that was a good call. It was real easy to do. I mean, guy, yeah, sure. He said, oh, yeah, sure. Cool. Now, the MLS, the only reason I look at the MLS anymore is just I want to know the expired ones, the withdrawn ones, the canceled ones. I'm not looking to buy off the MLS. I mean, let's face it, the MLS is full retail, or in some cases more, because they have to pay the commissions. So it doesn't make sense for us to work with those sellers. However, the expired, withdrawn, and canceled, yeah, it does. So we'll send maybe a postcard to those guys to see if we can get them to call us. And I can't tell you how many properties. I mean, I know it's at least 1,500 or more that we've done that have came to us after being listed for months and months and months and nothing happening. And then we did. So it's that's the only reason we look at the MLS. If you're going to do mailings, probate, free and clear, owner, pre-foreclosure, high equity. These are good lists for you to look at because they produce good leads. All right. So those aren't bad. I would definitely look at those ones. Mail to them if you're into mailing. Mailing costs money, so just be leery of that. You're going to see through this that I've created a system where it doesn't take a lot of money to buy real estate or to control real estate and make money with it. I always tell everybody I'm very frugal, and Steph, she always says, no, you're cheap. So whichever one, I just don't like to spend money to do real estate. It doesn't make sense. Running ads, I mean, there's newspaper ads if it's cost effective. A lot of newspapers are so expensive anymore, you just can't do it. But, for me, I think I run an ad 6 days a week, and for the month, I think it runs around $165. That's for that kind of publicity. So, but have you ever seen those paper placemats in restaurants with all the advertising on it? Well, call the number that's on there to get on the next set of mats. I mean, I think the last set of mats I did, they did 120,000 mats that went into 6 restaurants, and I think it ran around $140, $150. That's not bad. So, be smart with your advertising dollars. Your vehicle and your yard signs. Well, we went over the bandit signs. I love bandit signs. If you can use them, they work. If you can't use them, I just told you a few ways that you can get around that. So bandit signs are awesome. Now, the vehicle signs or vehicles, what I will say about that is don't use a wrap. Number one, when you wrap a vehicle, it's very expensive. Number two, wraps are for graphics. Well, nobody wants to see your face. Nobody, I know the agents like to do that, but nobody wants to see your face. Nobody wants to see a picture of a house or whatever, a lake, a palm tree, whatever. Forget it. It's just crazy to do that. Your vehicle only have so much time to read your message. So keep it very simple. Okay. I like to use vinyl lettering. I have a sign shop, make them up and put them on the vehicle. I like the font of that lettering to be the same font they use on traffic signs. There's a reason they use that font. It's very easy to read, and there's only so much time to read it. So keep your message simple. We buy houses, phone number, website, that kind of stuff. Don't go crazy with it. If you're flying by them, you only got so much time. I was sitting at a red light one time, and it was a long red light. And I'm sitting there, and I'm looking at this vehicle next to me that's wrapped. And I'll tell you what, I sat through the whole red light, and I followed him for a couple miles, and I still have no clue what he does. It was so busy, you couldn't figure out what it was all about. So keep it simple so they can see it. And I'll tell you, I had a Chevy Avalanche, and I did that with that Avalanche. And I had that for 8 years, and I averaged 25 deals a year just from the truck. So I know it works. Keep it simple. It's very inexpensive to do what I just explained to you. You could probably do that for well under $400, I'd say at the most. I mean, it's cheap, and then it just keeps on giving. Again, the old stuff, the posters, the flyers, the business cards, they still work. In fact, I just had breakfast this morning in one of the little stops I go to when I'm in town, and at both entrances they have a bulletin board. There's all kinds of stuff. My stuff's still on there from the last time I was in town, which was last summer. So, because that's the reason I stopped here, I wanted to put new, cards up on the bulletin boards. I didn't have to; they're still there. So that was pretty cool. So, anytime I find a bulletin board somewhere, Panera Bread, they always have a bulletin board back by the restrooms. Put your stuff on there. You can put your business card. If you have a postcard that you mail out, put one of them on there. If you have a flyer, put it on there. I mean, I like the flyers, and I have it in the system actually, with all the information, and then the tear-off phone numbers on the bottom. I have that in the system. You guys just have to change the phone number on it and put those up. So, I mean, there's so much you can do. It's inexpensive for marketing. Again, your website and online advertising is key. Very key. I can't say it enough. I mean, I think I told you I've got like 30 so these pages and websites and everything out there. So one of the biggest places that we're finding today, houses and funders, and it's free online, it's Facebook Marketplace. Facebook Marketplace is working great for us. So check that out. You may want to start doing something with that as well. Okay. Direct mail. I think we went over the every door direct. Every door direct through the Postal Service is very, very targeted marketing. And if you have to use that, have your marketing piece already created. Again, I like to buy on one side of it and sell on the other side of it. And just upload it, pay for it, and bingo, they deliver it. And it gets delivered. Whereas if you print out a bunch of stuff and you give it to people to go door to door to hand stuff out, you have no idea if they did or if it ended up in a dumpster somewhere. With the Postal Service, they actually deliver the mail. So very inexpensive way. Google AdWords and search engine optimization. Another great way to get you boosted on the first page is by using AdWords and keywords, that kind of stuff, and then search engine optimization. Now, do you have to be doing all this stuff yourself? No. Virtual assistants can do this stuff for you. And that's why we love virtual assistants. They do all kinds of stuff. They can do everything that except what the on the ground guy can do. And the on the ground guy can do everything except what the virtual assistants can do. So use them both. Have you ever seen one of these? It's called a yellow letter. And it's very yellow. So these work. Personally know John McNeil and his wife Donna. She just passed away about, I think, a year or so ago. But they created this letter. I'm trying to remember. I think it was 03, 05, somewhere in that area. And it works like a charm. But everybody now is teaching, mail these yellow letters out, or green letters, or horse letters, or cat letters, or whatever. Here's the thing. Sometimes they work real good. Sometimes they don't. It depends on how many of the gurus are out there talking right now, and they're pushing yellow letters, because most of them get a cut of whatever service they're using to push the yellow letter. I'm not affiliated with anybody that does that, so I'm just telling you these things are there. They work at times. It's just another great marketing piece. And the instructions on how to do it and everything are in our system as well. Our property data sheet is very simple. The main thing here is you're going to be looking at filling in the top part there. And most of it you can either get from, the Facebook ad, the Craigslist, the Zillow, wherever you're getting your leads from. Most of it you can get from there. And then when you're talking to the seller, you can fill in blanks as they spit stuff out at you. I have the mortgage information way down at the bottom for a reason. We don't ask for it. But if they bring it up and they tell us, my payment's this, I still owe this, then you can fill in the blanks and you have it. Okay. The main thing is, remember, we're going for an agreement to buy for cash, whatever they want. I don't care what they ask. Really, I don't. Okay. Presenting offers and getting the agreement, we give the seller what they want. If they want, $400,000 for a $200,000 house, so be it. I want an agreement to buy, so I will give them whatever they want. Don't impress them with you. You're going to probably go in there and talk. And I always like to say that the big guy upstairs, he gave us two of these things on the side of our head and one of these in the middle here that we talk from. Use the two on the side of the head. Listen more than talk. And they will tell you anything. You don't have to impress them with what you know. Have a meeting of the minds with them as to, like an example would be the guy who wants $400,000 for his $200,000 house. I would probably say to him something like this. And I'll get into that, I think, later too. I did this exact deal. And I told him, I said, you do realize, you're asking like double what it's worth. He said, yeah, I know. And I said, well, you're making it real hard for me to buy the house. He said, probably. I said, it's going to be hard for me to get a funder to fund this. He said, you only need one. I said, okay. I said, let's get this agreement signed. And he signed it. And I'll show you later on that particular deal, but I did that exact deal. But I have a meeting of the minds with them and just let them kind of bring them down to earth a little bit. But sometimes, they're like, no, that's what I want. Present the agreement to them and get it signed. Follow up if necessary. Now, here's the thing. I don't particularly like this one, but the reality of it is, it's going to happen. So, the seller may say, well, I want to run this past my attorney. And it's like, okay. So, can you email it to me? Or can I take it and give it to him? You know, that kind of stuff. And it's like, well, if you do that, 99 out of 100 times, the deal's done. Because the attorney's going to look at our agreement and he's going to say, no way. Even though we're buying for what the seller wants to sell for, he's going to say, no way. And I'll talk to you about a conversation I had with an attorney just recently on another example I'm going to give you here a little later. But normally, if you have to email them the agreement or leave the agreement there and expect a call back, it's not going to happen. So what I like to do in these cases where they say they want to do that is, well, why don't you have your attorney talk to my attorney? And what I do is I get a stack of cards from the attorney, his business cards, and I'll say, here, have him call my attorney and the two of them can hash it out because, you know, attorneys, you know, they talk attorney language and let them talk to each other. Because the reality of it is, guys, if an attorney talks to you, he's talking down to you, okay? An attorney to an attorney talks to each other, okay? And if you have your attorney talking to him, which it happens rarely that it actually gets that far, rarely. But if it does, they're going to talk like this, and it's your attorney who understands what you do, and he can explain it to him and let him know that everything is good, everything's fine, okay? CYA with our protection clauses. Again, we have protection clauses in our agreement and disclosures. There's like 6 of them that are specific to what we want to do and have in the agreement. Everything's above board. There's nothing hidden. It's explained to them in the agreement. They read it, they sign it, and everything's above board. So every agreement you don't take is potential profit you won't make. That's my favorite saying I came up with. It's every agreement you don't take is potential profit you won't make. CYA. Now, for us, CYA means control your agreement. We record our equitable interest in the property. That's the memorandum I told you about. This step is vital to your business. You have to do this with every single agreement you get. Record the equitable interest. 3 reasons to CYA. One is you become a principal in the transaction. You're on title. When that's recorded, that goes on the title. And that memorandum states a few things in there. Number 1, it puts the world on notice that you have an agreement to buy the property. Number 2, the seller agrees not to incur any more debt on the property. And I've got some special stuff in there that basically enables me to stay in deals that I actually get out of. I know I probably lost you there. It lets me stay in deals that I step out of and let the seller and my funder do creative terms. Okay? So it's pretty cool, the wording in there, and pretty awesome. You protect yourself so nobody else can get clear title without you knowing about it, because you're going to get a phone call. If they try to sell it to somebody else while you have an agreement to buy, you're going to get a phone call from the title agent that's getting ready to close the deal. And typically they call the day before closing. And they say, hey, we need you to release this memorandum, and we got to have it back by tomorrow. And my response is typically, no problem. Send it over. I'll get it signed and notarized. And don't forget the $10,000 release fee check. Then they go, what? And I go, well, you're calling me saying that this property is being sold out from underneath me, and I have an agreement to buy it. So what? Back at you. So, it's protection for you. It's a great way to also make some extra money every now and then too. So you get paid if there's a loan being used by your funder to buy the property, you can get paid from loan proceeds to release your interest in the deal. You see, when the banking crisis happened, the crash, they changed the rules. We used to be able to roll the assignment fee that we had into the loan. So we could get $50, $60, $80, $100,000 assignment fees all day long. Then when the crash came, they said, nope, you can no longer get paid an assignment fee with loan proceeds. So I said, okay. And that really put a damper on some income. So I got 4 attorneys working on it. I said, look, figure it out, guys. How can we get back to where we were that we can use loan proceeds to get paid? And it took them 9 months. And they finally called me and they said, John, we got it. And I said, what is it? He said, well, you're not going to assign anymore. You're going to release. And I said, one word? You changed one word. It took 4 of you guys 9 months, one word? And they said, yeah. And I'm like, all right, so explain it to me. So by being on title with the memorandum, it's considered like a mechanic's lien, if you know what that is. And so to get clear title, you have to sign up another paper to release the memorandum. Well, I don't sign that paper unless I get paid. So my release fee, which is shows up on the HUD as a mortgage or liens paid off, it goes in that column, and I get paid from loan proceeds again. Not many people know this, guys. That is huge. That is my secret sauce to what we're doing here. All right, so let's do this. We've got the deal after the deal. Where are we here? We're at 116. Let's say we got all these agreements on the left-hand side. And if you look down in the blue down there, it says MR, that means market rent, PITI, of course, and F&C is free and clear. Now let's bring in the first funder, John Doe. John Doe's got $15,000 down and he can do $37.50 a month. Out of all these agreements that we have, what could we offer John Doe? I mean, 123 Main Street, 345 Oak Street. We could offer him Elm Street there. How about Hickory Street? Well, Hickory Street's a little more than what he can afford. Now, we have an issue. What if he likes Hickory Street? Well, then we got to dig further into John Doe's income and outgo and all that good stuff and see if he can afford $43.50 a month. You see, we don't want to set him up to fail. We want to set him up to succeed. So if he's saying he could do $37.50, but he actually can do $43.50 with no problem and still pay his other bills and stuff, and he likes Hickory Street, well, then he can get Hickory Street. Water Street, he's well within the range there. And I'm sure he probably doesn't want High Street because it's only $750 a month, but who knows? He may want it. But so we would offer him everything we have under agreement and see what he wants. Mary Smith has $8,000 down, $2,500 a month. Same thing with her. She might be able to do Main Street, Oak Street, Hickory Street, Water Street. She might be able to. If she's interested in one of those, then we start digging into her deeper to find out if she can afford it and it won't hurt her or harm her, by making that big payment. So then you do the same thing with Terry. Now, Terry the tenant, look at Terry the tenant. $6,000 down, that's pretty good money down, but he can only do $2,200 a month. So there's a real good chance, he's not going to make it on a seller financing or a lease option deal. You got to remember, if he's only got $6,000 down, tenants are trained that it's first month rent, last month rent, and security. So if he's got $6,000 down and he can afford $2,200 a month, he's basically got the mindset of being a tenant. Okay. So you got to watch that too. Mary Money's got 30 down and 4,500. I'd do the same thing with her. See what she can do. That's where that report comes in real handy to make sure they can do the payment every month and not be crippled by it. So that's how you do these. Larry the loafer's only got five down and 1,900 a month. So Larry's basically a loafer. So he's a tenant. Richie Rich, I like Richie. He's got 20,000 down and 4,200 a month. He can do any of those with no problem. So that's how we match them up. The agreements with funders. So keep that in mind. Okay, here's a property we did. This was a nice house. This is in Florida. It was an act deal. Remember, an act deal was a motivated seller. He was behind on payments 11 months. Now, I got to tell you, with COVID, we're going to start seeing a lot of behind payments. We're going to get a lot of leads coming in with people behind. So it's to our advantage today with COVID that the people that get behind and they can't make up the payments, chances are in the past 10 years since the crisis ended, the banking crisis, their mortgage is a nice low interest loan. So that brings that PITI down, which is really nice. Now you get somebody behind on payments and you can make up those payments a lot easier. Okay. So this particular seller was behind 11 months. They owed the lender $107,000. Their monthly payment was $864 PITI. Sellers transferred from Florida to Ohio, so they were gone. They were already out of the house. They're gone. They just wanted debt relief. So we found a tenant buyer who had $20,000 down. We used $10,000 of that down money to bring the loan current. The sellers lease optioned the property to the tenant buyer for the balance owed to the lender. So basically, what we had them do was, it's a lease option, but it's for the remaining balance owed to the lender and the term of the loan to the lender. Basically subject to, without the buyer getting the deed. We like to do it that way because if the buyer defaults, then it's just an eviction instead of a foreclosure. Okay, so that's how we did this one. The lease payment was equal to the PITI and the option purchase price equal to the balance owed to the lender at time of exercising the right to buy. So they could buy it at any given time. They just, whatever the balance is on the loan, that's the purchase price. So the seller's got debt relief. The buyer got the property. And we made a $10,000 release fee to step out. I could have stayed in this one. We didn't. Probably kicking myself because I didn't stay in. But this is this deal here actually was the deal. Was it this one? Well, I did two at the same time. It was this one and the $400,000 one I'm going to talk about. Those two got me thinking, and that's when we came up with the verbiage to put into the memorandum that even though we got out, we can come back in. Okay, this is a nice house. This needs repairs. Got to build it himself. I think it's on 2 acres in the woods. I mean, it's a nice house. 2,600 square feet, 3 bed, 3 bath, 2.03 acres. Underlying mortgage of 125 is 2 months behind. 1133 PI per month. Seller agrees to accept 60 for his or 80 for his equity. Property will need 50,000 in updates and repairs. So what we did was we had the seller transfer the property into a land trust. We renegotiate with the seller. He agrees to accept that 60,000 in his for equity. We buy the property from the seller's land trust with a wraparound mortgage. I'm getting pretty heavy here, but pretty good stuff. Wraparound mortgage would be for 185 with payments equal to the PI payment on the underlying loan of 125. Put a private loan of 60,000 to do the repairs. Remember what the repairs were? 50,000, right? Why did we take 60? Well, it's called HIP National Bank. Loan proceeds are tax-free, so $10,000 in our pocket. It's also a little cushion in case we do overrun. We sold the property to an end user for $350,000. That's retail value. Here's the profit. After 6 months of rehab, marketing, and closing, you sell for $350,000. The closing costs are around $21,000. The first mortgage was $122,000, $125,000 minus $3,000 mortgage pay down. Equity to seller, $60,000. Private loan, $60,000 plus $3,000 in interest for 6 months. Then we made $84,000. Not bad. But these are scenarios because this one hasn't actually sold. Our profit, if sold, was seller financing with a 5-year balloon, a wraparound mortgage on it. We sell for $365,000 with $40,000 down. Closing costs around $21,000. The monthly spread on it is the $26.15 minus $11.33. The underlying loan, that's $14.82 a month monthly spread. That's cash in our pocket. Upfront money, $40,000 minus $21,000 for the closing costs. So we get $19,000 basically up front. The monthly spread is $14.82 times 60 months. That's $88,920. The mortgage paydown balance is $112,500. The seller do his equity of $60,000. Repay the repair loan of $60,000 plus the interest. So that's $24,000. Balloon payment due in 60 months of $311,610. So the back end profit would be $55,110. So our total profit would be $19,000 front, $88,000 920 plus 55 110, $163,030. It's an argument for staying in some deals, guys. You make a lot more money. This house, oh, this is the one I want to tell you about, the attorney. We sold this one in September last year. This was, during the pandemic. It's 5-bedroom, 4 baths, 2-car garage. It had about $250,000 price tag on it. Seller owed $140,000. We have an agreement to buy the property for $203,000. So we sold it for $236,900. The seller received $203,000. Our release fee on this check was $27,874.40. Not bad. And if you see down in the bottom left-hand corner there, it says lien release. I love it. Now, here's the thing with this one. We have the agreement. Actually, we have the agreement for the $203,000. This property just came off the MLS. The agents could not sell this property. Within 2 weeks, we have a buyer at $250,000. I'm sorry, $239,000. 239, yes. And we're like, okay, yeah, we can do this. $239,000. The appraisal came back in. It was $236,900. Okay, so we're like, we're fine. We can still make money on this thing. We're good. So let's see, it's Friday, 10 to 5, and I get a phone call from an attorney. The attorney is my seller's attorney. He's upset. He says, I don't like this deal. And I'm like, why not? I said, your seller, she's getting exactly what she agreed to. And he said, yeah. He said, but you're making like 22%. And I said, well, I don't get paid percentages. I'm not an agent. And I said, I actually should make more than that. I said, because we had it sold for $239,900. And I agreed to pay, I think, back sewage bills, back taxes, back this. I paid several $1,000s of your seller's costs. And he said, well, that's way too much. He said, you're making way too much on this. And I said, well, look, I said, I've done this a long time, and there's nothing wrong here. Your seller's getting what she asked for. And she also didn't tell me that she told us it was $140,000 she owed, but it was actually $150,000. So that was coming out of her, not me. And I said, should have been upfront with me and told me, what the numbers really were. Should be a lot better off. But she didn't give me the correct numbers. I said, so I gave her what she wanted. And he said, well, this just doesn't sound right. And I said, well, I'll tell you what. I said, here's my attorney's name. I said, I'm sure you know him. I said, why don't you call him up and talk about it? And he'll explain to you exactly how I do business and that there's nothing wrong here. And I said, I've done thousands of these. He said, I don't care how many of these you've done. He said, it just doesn't sound legal. And I said, well, it is very legal. And he can explain it to you. And I said, so why don't you give him a call? I said, because one way or another, 10 o'clock Monday morning, this deal's closing. Either she closes with my funder who's going to bring the money to the table, or I'll just buy it outright for the $203,000. Dead silence on the phone for almost 4 minutes. In fact, it was so silent, my phone went black, and I had to start my phone up to see if he was still there. And he was. So I just didn't say anything, just kept waiting. Finally, he says, well, I guess I'll give him a call. And he hung up. Monday morning, 10 o'clock, she closed with my phone. So, it's just because they're an attorney doesn't mean they actually know the law or how to close real estate deals, especially creative deals. So keep that in mind, guys. Here it is. Seller got her asking price with us. We paid for the realtor commissions. We paid inspection and repairs on her HVAC unit. We paid a home warranty. She told us she owed $140. It ended up being $150. She owed a year and a half back taxes. She didn't tell us that. Seller's attorney was upset. Seller was not getting more. And then the phone call I just described to you. It was pretty cool, that phone call. I really liked it. Okay, the $400,000 house, guys. Not many investors would pay $400,000 for a $200,000 house. In fact, I'm probably about the only one. But after this, you will be too. So the seller wants $400,000 cash for his house. During my conversation with him, he mentioned 24 times he wants $400,000 cash. If I don't get $400,000 cash, I'm not selling. I want $400,000. Can you get me $400,000? I want $400,000. He just kept on. I'm like, geez, okay. Taxes and insurance on this particular property are $400 a month. Now, this property was free and clear. His hot button was that he wanted the $400,000. So what I did was, the market rents for it are $1,900 a month. So I find a tenant buyer who can pay $1,900 a month who wants this house. Taxes and insurance are the $400. So if I back out the $400 out of the $1,900, that leaves $1,500 that can be NROC, non-refundable option consideration. Okay. The $400,000, if taken in $1,500 increments every single month, principal only, pays off in 22.2 years. So the seller benefits are, he gets his $400,000 in equal equity payments every month. So every month, the first payment he makes, $1,500, comes off that $400,000. $1,500 comes off for the remainder. $1,500 comes off the remaining balance. So it's $1,500 a month principal only. Those kind of loans pay off extremely fast. I told him he $106,400 of savings from not paying the taxes and insurance every year, he'll realize. So he's not dipping into his pocket every month to pay the taxes and the insurance. So over the course of 22.2 years, he's going to save around $106,000, probably more because taxes always go up and insurance goes up. He'll save roughly $53,000 over that time frame by not having to pay utilities. See what I'm doing here? I'm selling it to my seller that this is the deal. Because when I went back to him, I said, hey, I have funding. He says, fantastic. I said, it's not cash, man. I said, it's a terms deal. He said, I told you I don't want terms. I said, we at least listen to the numbers. I said, they're good numbers. So he listened to the numbers and he said yes. There's a chance that the buyer will move out. And if he does, all the money he's paid is non-refundable. Remember, it's NROC, non-refundable option consideration. Benefits to the buyer, he gets the home now, pays market rent for a home, credit needed, and he gets to own it in 22.2 years. Isn't that better than a 30-year loan? Yes. So for the buyer, it's a good deal. For the seller, it's a good deal. Remember, his button was the $400,000 for the property. Now, if his hot button would have been interest, well, then I would approach this as the $400,000, the $200,000 over the market value over 22.2 years, convert that into interest. And I forget what that comes out to, five point something. I don't know. But I'd have said, well, you're getting this kind of money. You're getting $200,000 interest. What do you want? I mean, it's just like a bank. Banks typically get about 2 to 3 times the value of the loan. So over 30 years. And I said, you're getting it over 22.2 years. So once he sat down and he looked at the numbers and listened to what he was going to make, he said, yeah, I can do that. And then what we made for our release fee was what the buyer had down. Now the buyer didn't have a whole lot down, so we only made $7,000 on this deal. I didn't have anybody else interested. I couldn't find anybody else, so I said, take the money. Let's get it done. So we made $7,000. So remember, I said I don't care what the purchase price is. It's the total PITI. That's what we look at, not the purchase price. Okay. Jason, how you holding on?
Good, John.
Moore Road. This was a nice house, real nice, custom built. Originally, I just took an option to purchase the property. It was 7 years old at the time, custom built. It was a 2 to 3 bedroom, 2.5 bath, 2 car on 1.5 acres. Now, the reason I say 2 to 3 bedroom is the woman I was getting the property from, she converted one of the bedrooms into a walk-in closet. So at the time, it was 2 bedroom. She also was getting ready to retire. She was a personal assistant to one of the county judges in our county. And of course, she had to run this deal past the judge. And when she told me that, I'm thinking, this one's done. But the judge said, yeah, looks good. Go ahead and do it. So I'm like, yeah, that's good. The ARV on the house when we acquired it was $175,000. Seller just wanted debt relief and $6,000. Her loan balance when we acquired it was $135,000. So it's a good deal. I mean, there's $40,000 equity in this property. Well, minus the $6,000. So that's still a good deal she's given us. The PITI on it was $1,200. So again, I originally took an option to purchase the property for the balance on the loan and $6,000. We ended up lease optioning the property from the seller. So I was the funder. She lease optioned the property to me. Then I sandwich lease optioned it back out to my tenant buyer. I had 3 tenant buyers over 10 years. It's not bad. And $12,000 non-refundable option consideration from the defaulted tenant buyers. So from the 2 previous ones, $12,000 they left on the table when they left. Each tenant improved the property. It's an 1.5 acres. They put that white picket plastic fencing way around it. That's very expensive. Let's see. Oh, it was a multi-level property. So you walk in the front door, there's like a little den area. Then you go into the kitchen and dinette area. And then there's a sliding door off the dinette. And now you're on the 2nd floor in the back of the property, but there was no deck. So it was like, if you go out the door. And one of the tenant buyers wanted to put a deck on. So they sent me the prints, and we said, yeah, that works. And we sent it over to the seller, and we said, hey, we need you to sign for the permits, and she says, well, I don't know, what do you think? I said, well, they want to improve the property. Why not? Let's do it. So she signed for the permits, and it was a $28,000 deck. And then they walked away from it. Unbelievable. But they put the beautiful deck on there. One of the tenants put up a 2-story barn type shed, big shed. I think it was 12 by 16 or something like that. Huge shed. So that was there. Then, like I said, it was a multi-level. So you go in the front door, then you go down to like the game room and a bathroom. And then you went down again into an unfinished room. Well, one of them finished that into a bedroom. So now we got 4 bedrooms. I think they did something else. I can't remember. Anyhow, each one of them improved the property. The third tenant buyer actually bought the property. They were in the property 8 years. They paid $1,678 a month and $13,000 non-refundable option consideration. The monthly spread was $478 a month for a total of $44,888. They actually bought it for $197. Now, I had an agreement with them to buy it at $219. The appraisal came in at $197. So being the nice guys that we are, we said, okay, let's close the deal at $197. So they bought it. Our back end profit was $63,760.83. So we made a total of $133,888 on this one house that we had no money in, but some time, and everybody was happy. Oh, let me tell you, we're a couple weeks away from closing. And during that time frame, the buyer's option to buy was going to expire. My seller calls and she says, John, I need $5,000, and if I can get it by the end of the week, she said, I'll accept that as payment in full for the house. She said, I'll sign whatever you want me to sign. I said, well, let me see what I can do. So I hang up the phone, and Steph's grabbing the checkbook, and I said, what are you doing? She said, I'm going to write her the check. And I said, no, you're not. She said, what do you mean you're not? I'm not. And I said, hang on for a second. So I called our buyer up, and I said, look, I want you to know your option to buy this is expiring in a few days. And I'm being told you're real close to getting this loan done within the next couple of weeks. But in order to keep moving forward, we need an additional $5,000 NROC from you. Now remember, that goes towards the purchase price, so it's not like you're losing the money. And they said, wow, can we think about it? I said, yeah. So they thought about it, they prayed over it, and next day they called and said, okay, we'll do it. So they sent us the $5,000, Steph sent the seller the $5,000, and everybody was happy, and we still ended up making $133,888. See how you negotiate all the time, back and forth. It's so much easier to negotiate than it is to, hang drywall and paint and do plumbing and electrical and all that crap, that looks so good on TV, but it's not fun. It is a way to make money. I still do some of that stuff, but I don't actually do it myself. But we still do some rehabbing. But it's so much easier to do this. All right, close quickly. So you get the seller and the funder info along with your negotiated deal to your attorney, title, escrow company. We have a form in the system that you just fill in the blanks. all the information about the deal, send it over to the attorney, and then if they need anything else, they call you and say, well, we need this or that or whatever. But that gets the ball rolling as to getting to the attorney, title escrow company will create whatever documents are necessary to get the deal closed. They're going to create the release letter for the memorandum. They're going to create the final purchase and sale agreement, the HUD, any other ancillary forms that are necessary. They create it. You don't do that stuff. Now, your cost to close is nothing. That's the beauty of what we do. You see, all the costs of closing are split between the seller and your funder buyer. You don't pay anything. You just collect checks. Now, the only time you are going to pay anything is if you're the funder buyer, like I was in that last example. Okay? I lease optioned it from my seller. So now I'm the funder buyer. I have closing costs. Okay? And then whenever I lease option it back out to my tenant buyer, then I'm the seller side of the costs on that transaction. But on the final sale, it's the seller and the funder buyer that pay the cost. You cash your check and keep doing it over and over. I just love it. I mean, I can't tell you how many of these we've been doing. And I've got people all across the country doing them, and they're making lots of money. Going on cruise control. Virtual assistants. I don't know how we'd do the business without virtual assistants because I'm not doing all this stuff anymore. I got to have people do it for me because I don't want to do it anymore because I'm too busy. What do I do? Oh, well, we travel a lot. Even now, I mean, a couple months ago, we were in Costa Rica. Right now, I'm up in Pennsylvania, and I don't live here anymore. I live in Florida. So Steph and I move around. The virtual assistants. I use a company here in the States. Girl, she actually started out as one of my virtual assistants for another company. Then she went out on her own, started her own company. And I forget how long, 12, 13 years now she's been doing it. And she trains the VAs not only in CAPS, but also in our contact management system that we use. So if you get CAPS, you could get our contact management system. And if you're a CATS member, then she trains those VAs in CATS and our contact management system. So they're very well trained that way. We don't use the cheap ones, overseas. We tried that. It just doesn't work. Typically, the main reason is the language barrier isn't bad, but it's more the internet. They're constantly internet service is down. Whether it's the Philippines or India or wherever, Pakistan, they're just, it's not worth it. So we use state-based. It's by the minute. I think it's like 35 cents a minute. Very inexpensive, and they do a great job. Got to have a phone system, guys. There's several of them out there. They all start around, I think, $15-20 a month. The great thing about the phone system is, number one, it makes you look big. Number two, you can give extension numbers to your properties and record messages on there. So if they do go to 123 Main Street and call in, about 123 Main Street, it's extension 100. Maybe that's the sign in the front yard of 123 Main Street. So now you can track where that marketing came from, that call. Or maybe you put extension, 105, and that could be a flyer for that property. 110 could be maybe the newspaper ad for that property. You could track your marketing to see where your calls are coming from for the properties, so that you can better track your marketing dollars, if they're being spent well or not. Contact management system, again, we have our own. We've had it since 2005, and you can opt into that as well. It's not included. It's not my system, but I have access to it. An acquisitionist or a funding coordinator, whatever you want to call them. Basically, that's my guy who goes out and gets the master agreement signed with my sellers. Again, I prefer to have that guy be or gal be a notary, so that memorandum can get notarized right then, right there. The closing coordinator, you want somebody to follow the property the whole way to closing. So once you got your funder in place, and that form is filled out to send to the attorney title escrow, I want that closing coordinator on that deal so that they can make sure that the attorney title escrow is getting what they need. We got to chase paperwork, documents, whatever, make phone calls. That quote closing coordinator is going to do that and shove that deal through closing as quickly as possible, because that's our money. The longer it takes, the longer we don't get paid. So we're always looking for that. Now, the great thing is your closing coordinator can be a virtual assistant. Ours is, and she's been with us 13 years, and she's done the closing, all the closing coordinating for us, and it works great. So again, it doesn't have to be you. Again, why do you need React Cats? To eliminate your competition. It can be used here across the country. It's the only system that adapts to the market. You get lifetime membership and updates with the monthly fees waived off the website training portal. Email access to ask me questions, all that good stuff. And we've been through this stuff, so I'm going to skip through that. Here is actually the front page of the training portal. Now, it's nothing fancy, but it gets the job done, and it's free to you. And that's why it's not fancy. If I got to doll it all up, then I'm going to start charging for it. But we're not going to do that. We're going to keep it as simple as possible, so that everybody can reap the benefits. But you got the training manual on here. The master agreements are in here. Resources. There's all kind of marketing stuff in here, guys. We go into round robin auctions, profit sharing, the what would Jon do call. The main thing is, though, the third blue button down on the left is the what's new tab. And I tell everybody, every time you log into the site, just go to what's new, because something may have changed. We may have added something, taken something out. There may be a new resource in there for you. So it's a great way to keep up to date as to what's been going on with the system and what we're doing in our businesses. So you know exactly what we're doing. It's working for us. It'll work for you. I don't know if you know this guy. This is Steve Love. Steve, he owns the biggest RIA in LA, and he's been around, man. He's a long time, and he's actually been to my 4-day workshop twice now, and that's something to get Steve to come from LA to Florida to the same workshop twice. That's an accomplishment. Let's see if this will play.
Hey, Steve Love here again, Prosperity Food Real Estate, Los Angeles, California. and I'm here at the Iannotti's Reacts Boot Camp in Fort Myers, Florida, and I just had some. I've given testimonials before for the Iannotti's because they're so wonderful. But I want to say some other. You're by the pool. You can't tell. Anyway, there's some other things I want to say about this boot camp that's unique in the world. And I just had to add these extra thoughts. First of all, if you're a real estate investor at all, if you're had any experience at all, you'll know that 99% of the leads we get, we got to throw away, okay? Usually we only want to deal with highly motivated sellers, and that's great, we still do. But 99% of the leads are folks that want all cash, full price. Throw those leads away. Not anymore. Jon Iannotti has come up with a way of buying those houses anyway. Folks, I can't tell you how unique that is in the country today. You've got to come check out what he does. There's other things about this boot camp. Besides that, if that's not enough, he's got a team here. That's why they have it in Fort Myers. He doesn't do it all around the country. They got a team here that you got to see. They've got a person also that's going to set you up with your own VAs. They've got a guy that's going to show you how to write your own books, TC. They have Paul, who's going to show you, who's a credit expert. He's going to show you how you can get credit cleaned up for all your buyers to buy your house. And I don't know how they did this. They even got some guy who is literally, the biggest guy in the country when it comes to private lending. And he is going to show you how to do that. And I'm not exaggerating. He is the guy. So these are just some extra thoughts I wanted why you've got to be here at the Iannotti's boot camp here. There's nothing like it on the planet. Nothing. And I've been to all the boot camps. Come see Jon and Stephanie right here.
Cool. Yeah, Steve's, like I said, he's been around, man. He's seen everybody. This is John and Christy, and they're in Oklahoma. And back in May, I got this check from them. Now, I typically get 1 to 2 checks a week from these guys. They're just knocking it out of the park. This one was for $33,451. They 3 months, I think they told me last year, made over 100,000. This year they're planning on doing a lot better, but they're just knocking it out of the park. There's 2 more, $97,800, and small one for $1,158. But 2 in the same day, and that was in September. Like I said, I got lots of checks from him. He said, I talked to him the other day. I said, I haven't seen any checks lately. What are you doing? He says, so I just quit sending them. He said, I figured you had enough. I said, okay. You start adding my name to these checks. And he said, yeah, I can put it on the notes section. And I said, no, that don't work. I said, nice try. But yeah, we got guys like this just cranking it out, man. I mean, it's great. Testimonials. You know, we've got, here's Luke. Luke, he made $31,000 on a deal that he would have thrown out in the past. So that really changed his life. Ray, he said, I wish I'd taken this training before he spent $35,000 on another course. And it's like, yeah, I know. Sorry. And Scott, in 1 month he made over 70 grand. So. We've got tons of this stuff, but just show you a little bit of it. How about this from Las Vegas? Now, these 2 girls, they talk pretty softly, so I'm not sure if you'll hear it or not, but I'll try it. But Lauren, she's a real estate broker, and I believe Caitlin just got her agent's license, and it's a mother-daughter team, and they ended up making some money on a deal where they tried to move it as agents, and they couldn't do it, and they got our training, and next thing you know, they made some money. Pros are that you get lifetime membership with us. You see, when we figured out that we wanted to start teaching, we wanted to do it different than everybody else. Everybody else gives you enough to get you to buy the next thing, and And it's like, that's not our business. Our business is doing what I'm teaching you. And then us teaching people is just an ancillary part of our business. We don't get rich off of it. We're to the point we want to help people do better at investing, and there is a simpler, easier way. And when we decided to start teaching, we said, let's do it this way. Let's make it a lifetime membership. We'll give them that, what would Jon do, call every month. That's an hour call with me. Give them email access to me. Give them lifetime updates. Give them the training portal free. If they want to split deals, we'll split deals. Eliminate your competition. This works in all market cycles, guys. We've proven it now. You work 100% of your leads, not 2%. That's huge. And potential to make money on every lead that comes in. There's no need to buy anything else. You also get the 1 hour jump start call when you sign on with us. That's with me and at least one of our mentors. Now the cons are, you know it all. You can learn online for free. You like working too hard. People say you can't do that. You don't have the money. I'll buy it in a few weeks. I have to think about it. You buy it and do nothing. This is just another program. I have 100 more excuses if you want to hear them, Jon. And really, that's what it all boils down to, guys. So here's the thing. If you go out to my website, I've got a price on this system I'm giving you today, $79.97. That's just the membership. So I don't want you to go to my website. I want you to get it from Jason. You get the 250-page color manual, 35 plus MP3 audio recordings and DVDs, resource documents, free lifetime updates, free online members only training portal website, monthly What Would Jon Do calls, and you get to 2 weeks to test drive our contact management system for free as well. For you guys, it's only $19.97. Again, this is just your membership, so it's $19.97, but you can add a 4-day workshop for just $500 more. I got to tell you, the workshop is 4 unbelievable days with Steph and I and our team. And we limit this to 40 members. Now, what other guru out there limits how many people can come to their events? They want hundreds and hundreds of people because they want them to buy. We want to give. So I'm telling you, it's like being fed from a fire hose, what we give you guys. And we got 3 events planned this year. Last year, we ended up having to do virtual. As of today, the April 22nd through 25th event is going to be live. We've checked with the hotel in Florida, and they're good to go. They're set. They do all the necessary precautions, and we will too. And we're going to limit it to 40 people. We're also going to do it July 15th through 18th and October 14th through 17th. Again, as of right now, it's going to be live. I think we sent out an email to our members, and we've got, I think it was 22 right now that are saying they want to come to the live event. So that would leave, what, 18 slots left. So, but you got to have our membership in order to come to the 4-day. You can't just come to the 4-day. Now, this pricing that I'm giving you guys is only good till the end of tomorrow, because I can't do this. This is $2,000 to come to the event, and we're going to let you guys come for $500 more. That's a heck of a discount. I got to tell you, Steph, she's my Oprah. She gives everything away. So typically, she's got 2 packages: one for VIP attendees and one for non-VIPs. Each package is probably worth, I think the last one was somewhere in the neighborhood of $13,000 or $14,000 each of goodies. So we don't make money on this, but it's our give back, and we want you to come. So you'll learn from not only our team who's there, but also from the other attendees that are there. So our attorney, the title, mortgage brokers, our real estate broker, they're all there. One of our partners is she does small multi-units, like 4 units and below. So she'll be talking about that. One of my guys will be talking about putting lipstick on a pig properties. And I think if we have time, I've got time. I want to have one of my other guys talk about going in and rehabbing. So I mean, there's so much we go through. We do live calls, so bring your leads and your cell phone so that I can call them on your phone. And it's a great time. I mean, it's wonderful. Every attendee that's been to it has said they've gotten way more than they expected. In fact, we have one guy. The last day, he wheeled in a cart full of champagne bottles and glasses and gave everybody champagne. And he just couldn't thank us enough. I had one guy. He's a big wholesaler. I mean, big wholesaler in the country. He came. It was about an hour and a half into the first day, and he jumped up and ran out of the room. And I'm thinking, what'd I do? And at break time, he come back in, and I said, "What the heck happened, man?" He said, "Man, that one idea you gave me right there," he said, "that just added another 7 figures to my income." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool, good." So you don't know who you're going to run into, you don't know what you're going to hear, but it's all good. I can't say it enough. Yeah. So again, if you want the membership and the 4-day, it's $24.97 total, and you get all the goodies. So if I were you guys, and that's lifetime. I mean, who in their right mind does this stuff that's out there on the circuit? There's nobody out there that does this. We're the only ones, and we tell you stuff that's working. We don't sell you stuff that worked 10, 15 years ago, or some new shiny little thing, that might get some people to bite at it. We don't do that stuff. So, we're here for you. We want to make you successful. That's what we love. I mean, when we're standing in front of the class and we're talking, and all of a sudden you can see the little light bulbs come on above everybody when they get it, and we call those aha moments. And when we get those, it is great. We love it because that's how it makes us feel good inside that we're doing good, and that's what we want to do. So the link to sign up, or the 800 number if you want to call, and it's thecatsteam.com or 800-876 7937, extension 190. Good. Okay. Can you tell me, was there anything in there that sounded new or that could maybe make you some more money? Good. Well, that's the great thing about this is I can I can I can go into so much more, but the main thing is the getting you to the event. I can't tell you, it's not a sell-a-thon, and I want you to understand that. Our events are not sell-a-thons. I will say I have maybe 2 people who sell something, but it's something that we use. So we like to, if we're using it every day in our business, then we present it to you. But just to sell you stuff to make more money, we don't do that. So it's not a sell-a-thon. And let's face it, April is a great month to be in Southwest Florida. And we are open. So, we'd love to have as many of you guys come in as possible because, man, I'll tell you, here's the thing. Think about how many people may get the membership from the other night or today, or maybe in the future with some replays. There aren't that many, guys. And your markets, whether you're in Las Vegas or Boston, those are big markets. And if there's only 1, 2, 10 of you doing something similar to what we're doing, you don't have competition. You don't have it. And again, like I said, with all the other investors that are chasing the 65 cents on the dollar deals, let them chase them. You take all the rest. So you're doing 98 deals out of 100. They're doing 2. And I have no competition, none whatsoever. And I, riding around town the past week I've been here, I'm seeing all these We Buy Houses signs, and yet we're getting all these houses coming in that we're getting. It's like there can't be anybody else doing anything because I know what they're taught, and they're taught find the junkers, and they're not going to get them. They're just not going to get them, especially when you go in and you offer, whatever they want. So it's a great way to do the business, very inexpensive way to do the business. You limit your liability with the business. It's great the whole way around. It's just, I can't tell you when we finally figured it out, and it was probably, I'd say 2009, when we finally figured out the CATS code. And since then, it's just been deal after deal after deal. We did tons of deals before that, but we did it the old way. It's the way everybody else teaches, and find all that private money and all that stuff, and rehabbing. That was good. I'm glad I did it when I did, because now that I'm a little older, it's like, boy, I really don't want to do that. I want to work easier, not harder. And CATS is definitely way easier to make big money than all that other stuff. Yeah, I've turned down 8 reality shows. I I told the last one, I said, look, I deal in reality, not reality TV. So it just it's a great way to do business, guys, and I really would love to see you as members. Let me get into the share screen. Because I think a lot of people get confused. They think it's very complicated to use trusts with the business. And what we've done, again, is we've made it very user-friendly, I want to say, so that when you're using a land trust with cats, it's very simple. We keep it extremely simple. You'll find that with us, we try to keep everything as simple as we can. And we have a sample land trust and a personal property trust is in the resource section on our CAT's website. So basically all you have to do is go in there and fill in the blanks. But why do we use the land trusts? Well, the main reason is privacy. We use the name of the trust, anything you want, just not something that could be linked to you or your entities. So what I do is, like I said before, I typically will use the property address as the name of the trust. So it would be, 123 Main Street Trust. We create the trust, and the paperwork is in the resources tab on our website. Now, this paperwork that you fill in stays in your file for the property until it's needed. Now, remember, the master agreement will be voided out at the closing because the new final agreements that the attorney, title, or escrow company will create will be made by them, not you. These will have the final buyer information and price and terms agreed to. Again, like I said, we name it the property trust. Create the paperwork. Use a trustee that does not have the same last name as you. That's a good one. Because remember, you're trying to be private here, and you don't want your name out on county records. The trustee will sign the trust, the master agreement, and the memorandum. Then the trustee signs a resignation form, which is in the resources, and resigns as trustee. We usually wait a day for this, and then that stays in the property file as well. So now, Mary Smith signed as trustee for our 123 Main Street Trust, and that gets recorded. Well, the memorandum gets recorded with Mary Smith's name. Then she resigns. Then we appoint a successor trustee, and the form is in the resources, and that stays in the file, property file as well. Now, the successor trustee could be you, so that you can sign papers for your entity. Successor trustee will now sign on behalf of the trust or assigns. The attorney, title, escrow will probably want a copy of the trust for closing, the trustee resignation letter, and the successor trustee letter. So your closing coordinator will send that over to the the attorney, title, or escrow. Be sure to let the attorney, title, or escrow know who or what entity you want your release fee check made out to. So remember, it's 123 Main Street Trust. Mary Smith is the trustee. And now you have the successor trustee of you. And you have to let the closing agent know who to make out the release fee check to. Because if you don't, it could come in the name of the trust if they didn't see that you wanted it different. It could come in the name of you personally, but you don't want it that way. It could come in your entity's name. However you want it, you have to let them know so that it's done properly. Now, on our master agreement, all you have to do, well, it says in here, property address, it'll automatically fill in land, trust, and or assigns if you're using our contact management system. Otherwise, you just type it in there, 123 Main Street Land Trust and or assigns. Then on the signature line is the 123 Main Street Trust and Mary Smith, trustee. And then Mary Smith would sign. On the memorandum, it says, like here it is, John Doe and Mary Doe are the sellers, 123 Main Street Trust, Land Trust, respective heirs, successors, and assigns. So you can see, you can assign it to your entity or to you, all right? And on the signature page of the memorandum, again, in the upper left, the yellow, the trustee would sign that. That's Mary Smith. Then down in the middle there, Mary Smith, 123 Main Street Trust. Then I have two areas created on our paperwork for notarization. And I do that in case, let's say, you're not there to sign the paperwork and get it notarized. They can get their signature notarized on the top one. Then on the bottom one, you can get your signature notarized separately. So, but if you're there, all there together, then you can just use one. You don't need to use both. But I made that so that, you know, for people that aren't there at the same time. Keep it simple, guys. Trusts are not that complicated when used with cats. The trust will live till the closing on deals that you get out of. Deals you are taking title to, you title however you want. So it can be, if you're taking title in a trust, take a title in a trust. If you're taking title in your entity, take it in the entity. If you want to, you know, however you want to title it, you can title it. Oh, yeah. Okay. So that's pretty much trusts with cats. Very simple. Trustee signs, they have a different last name than you. That gets recorded. So it'll have that trustee's name on it on the county record. They resign, appoint yourself trustee. Nobody sees that. When the closing comes, the attorney or title or escrow will create a release of memorandum, and you can sign as the trustee on that document because you've given him the successor trustee form and the resignation trustee form. Very simple, very simple. Trusts scare a lot of people, but the way we use it with cats, it's a very simple process, and it works really, really slick. And it keeps your name off the records. I mean, I remember I used to work with this guy in the steel mill, and he's a big landlord in our town. He owns a lot. At the time, he owned like 27 properties. I know he owns a bunch more and some self storage units. So I know he's a big investor. And he came up to me one time. He says, "You know, you say you got all these properties." He said, "But I looked you up on county records." He said, "You don't own anything." And I said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, you could look me up." He said, "You'll see I own 27 properties and I own them all free and clear. And they're in my name." And I said, "Oh, good for you." He's just got a huge target on him. I mean, he's made it a long time without getting sued, but boy, it only takes one. He could get wiped out. Because when a lawsuit starts, the attorneys send the clerk to the county website to see what you own. And they look me up. I don't own anything. They look him up. He owns 27 properties free and clear. Who do you think they're going to sue? They're going to take a case against him. So, that's why you want the anonymity that land trusts provide. Okay? So that's how we use trusts with cats. Very simple. Anything else? Remember, you can order the membership at thecatsteam.com or 800-876-7937, extension 196. And, if it doesn't get picked up, just please leave a message and we'll get right back to you. But we're here. I mean, we'd love to see you guys in person. Is what we'd love to do, is come out to see you. But dang, it's been a rough year. So we're making the best of it with the virtual here. But again, we are on schedule to do our 4-day event live in April. So April 22nd through the 25th. Again, I've got about 22 already signed up to come. So that leaves us about 18 more. But, if you could make it, we'd love to have you. And if you can't make that one, we got one in July and then October. So look forward to seeing you at one of them, if not many. I mean, remember the guy who had all the checks I was showing you? April's going to be his 7th 4-day. He was just a little thicker to break through. He was an IT guy for computers, and he was tough, man. Finally, he said, "You know what? I'm just going to do what Jon says and see what happens." And the next thing you know, he's doing $100,000 a month. So he's doing okay. So we'd love to help you guys get to that level, and I appreciate Jason, bringing us on, and we're here for you.
No, that's awesome, Jon. Alex. And so, yeah, I just want to thank again Jon Iannotti for the great job he did with today's real estate workshop and everyone. So I appreciate everyone attending. We'll have the replay available shortly for the workshop as well. So thank you again, everyone. Thank you for everyone that attended. Thank you, Jon, for doing a great presentation. And like I said, the website to sign up is in the chat and the phone number to contact Jon directly. So you can go to either www.catsteam.com or call 800-876-7937, extension 196, and talk to Jon about getting started with cats and a great journey in real estate investing. So I just want to thank everyone for that. And yeah.